For the year 2020, I'm making a video review for every new movie I watch, whether in theaters or at home. And on March 30th, I watched The Great Mouse Detective. Welcome to my year in movies. This is talking to myself. So, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. The movie is extremely short and it's extremely simple. So, if you've seen one Sherlock Holmes movie, you've kind of seen all of them at this point, and this one's kind of no exception. This is a dark age Disney film, that is to say it came out before The Little Mermaid in 1989, and boy does it show. The animation's serviceable. I definitely loved seeing 2D hand-drawn characters again. I'd kind of missed that feeling. Animation's made huge leaps and bounds, and I don't want to discount the artists that work in the computer animated animation field, but I do miss the 2D animation of Disney. The color palette doesn't have like that pop and that high contrast that I kind of came to expect out of later Renaissance Disney films. So the color palette's kind of washed out and muted, and it doesn't feel purposeful. It just feels like, well, we have 6 colors and all of them are brown, so we're gonna use them. The story is a generic caper, and I think honestly the reason we still watch The Great Mouse Detective is because of the performances, which are pretty good. Barry Ingham does a really good job as Basil of Baker Street. He is very melodramatic. He's an utter drama queen. It's very clear why he and Radigan are enemies. He has complete disregard for Olivia's last name. He gets it wrong every time, pretty much on purpose, and that's never not funny. He's charming, he's fast-paced, he's quick-witted, and I do like that a lot. I think he's as close to Crackhead Holmes as we can get in children's programming without directly referencing cocaine, which for the 1980s showed a tremendous amount of restraint. I have a lot of enjoyment deep in my soul for chaotic adults paired with precocious children, and so I was deeply satisfied by his interactions with Olivia. The other great performance in this film is Vincent Price as Radigan. Supposedly it was a lifelong dream of Vincent Price to play a Disney character, and so his glee is palpable. You can hear his joy and delight just bubbling over every line of dialogue he has. Supposedly Vincent Price either convinced Henry Mancini, or Henry Mancini knew Vincent Price was so excited to play a Disney character that they wrote multiple songs for Radigan. There's his traditional villain song where they sing about how evil and brilliant he is, how he loves drowning orphans and things like that. But then there's also a song that Radigan recorded as an overture to his nemesis's demise, and that's just so iconic. Imagine if, in a James Bond film, Dr. No is and I don't know James Bond villains, so I'm just gonna throw out lines that I know and associate them with villains I don't. It's no, Mr. Bond, I intend for you to die. Pushes, a stereo button, and it's a song that Dr. No recorded specifically for James Bond for when he would die. It's so campy, it's so iconic. I am a huge fan of melodramatic villains, and even more so, I'm a fan of campy villains who can still physically break things in their hands. There were multiple occasions where Radigan would just take something in his hands and physically break it, and I love that. The funniest thing, just in the context of making the film as a whole, so the music in this film is kind of weird. I would consider The World's Greatest Criminal Mind to be kind of a traditional Disney musical number. It services the plot, it introduces us to the character, and it gives us kind of a vibe of who he is as a character. But there's a number, probably within a half hour of the ending, called Let Me Be Good to You. And that's a cabaret number. Dawson and Basil go undercover at kind of this seedy dockside pub, and this mouse does a cabaret number. Now, it's more akin to I'm So Tired from Blazing Saddles. It's more played for comedy, but there's still a weird amount of sexual content in that song. And apparently the people the producers or the distributors were this is weird, please cut this or tone it back or something. And the animators are basically it's a mouse cabaret, it's just for fun. But the song was originally, I think, recorded by Madonna, if I read correctly. Duh, people are gonna think it's sexual. What's wrong with you? And I do have to say, there's a section towards the end that's all done with computers, and that's how they were able to even finish the film. They get inside of a clock, and it's all computer generated. And that reveal was extremely well done because I think it was relatively new technology. They gave the reveal of the clock and all of the spinning gears, they gave that kind of a minute to just kind of set and let you soak in that reveal. And that was extremely effective. I found myself very impressed with that sequence. Like, even with all of the animation leaps and bounds we're making today, that was still really cool. And I was really impressed with how that looked on screen. So it definitely has its moments, and the movie is only 70 minutes. It's like 75 minutes long. It's on Disney Plus. It's worth your time. In fact, I would consider it a prime candidate for a rainy afternoon. It's quick, it's cute. That's kind of all it has going for it. It's worth seeing. It's worth watching for the performances. It's worth watching for Vincent Price, because all things with Vincent Price are worth watching, and I mean that with my whole heart. This has been my year in movies. Thank you for watching.